Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Yeonni. When I said today was going to be a casual update on my life, on the PhD journey, I so meant casual. So casual that we're on Zoom currently. I'm recording a Zoom meeting. The only reason I have my phone right now is just to make sure the audio quality is okay. I have a little mic type of thing and I forgot to bring it because I'm currently in Denver for a conference, but I was like, okay, I want to upload a casual update. How should I do it? What feels the most natural? And what feels the most natural than a Zoom update? I have used Zoom to catch up on life with coworkers, friends, colleagues, catch up on work, so many different outlets. So I thought, hello, thank you for logging on to Zoom. Thank you for logging on to check in with me. First things first, let me grab a water real quick. I'm going to make this as casual and organic as possible with as limited editing as possible. So you're going to watch me as I struggle to hold my phone and open this one. Okay, hold on. I'm spilling. Okay, got it. All right, limited editing, right? So either you just watched me chug that water or I cut it out because it was too much. Anyway. That is upside down. Hi, guys. So let's catch up on life and how my PhD program has been. I've been going through it. If you saw my last video on my channel, I've been talking about burnout. I am so burnt out. I think there's just too much going on in the world that just makes me so sad. And it's hard to feel motivated when I'm feeling, is this recording? Yes, when I'm feeling so sad and heavy. And I really felt like, so where do I even begin? I didn't even script this because I was like, I'm going to be casual, which means I'm not going to script things, which means you're going to hear me ramble like we're on a Zoom call. The only thing is you can't tell me to shut up or stop rambling. Anyway, I just finished my third year of the PhD program in May. Technically, the spring 2025 semester ended in May. However, I continued my externship, so working at my clinical site, working with patients until the end of June. I also took a summer class the first half of June. It's the first half of summer, so technically although the semester of the year ended in May, it really feels like school ended at the end of June. And then as soon as July hit, I went to Korea for 10 days. And then when I came back from Korea, I actually sort of jumped right in. I was kind of sick, and then my cat Chai got sick, so I've been going to the vet with him nonstop this summer when I have time, which has been mentally taxing, but also financially really stressful. Let me tell you about an update about the PhD program. I'm struggling financially. It is so hard being a PhD program, being a PhD student in a PhD program in New York City. Now, with full transparency, I am very lucky because my program has a stipend, and also I do not pay a single dollar for my classes. So I'm going to put my hand up here and acknowledge my privilege there. I know not all programs provide a tuition and a stipend. I feel very lucky about that. And also, just realistically, as grateful as I am for the stipend, it only covers rent for me, which once again is a big deal. I'm very grateful. However, I need to find outside sources of money to be able to pay for groceries, to be able to pay for bills. So having any kind of safety bubble of finances is kind of impossible as a PhD student. So you end up taking on loans, and you can TA every semester, but you're not guaranteed to be able to TA every semester. And there's different TA, CA ships that pay more or less. For example, this summer, I begged our director for a section that pays more. And I was like, I'm willing to do more work. Please, I really need this larger sum of money over the summer. Didn't get it. I don't blame our director. I'm sure there's so many working parts behind the scenes, but let me tell you, am I still recording? Yes. Let me tell you, it has been so tough financially. That's a part of the PhD journey that's been really difficult. Burnout has been difficult. But if I were to talk about wins, now that I'm done with my third year of the PhD program, I technically finished up all of my like required core classes as well as my electives, which is a big deal. Is this also recording? Yes. It's a big deal. I'm done with any electives. And also because I got my master's at NYU, I was able to transfer a lot of those credits into elective credits. So I've been able to take classes like ceramics this year. Like I took a ceramics intro course in the spring, which was so fun. And honestly, ceramics has been so life-changing and exciting, and I sort of want it to be a hobby of mine for the rest of my life. Something about this like creative outlet just feels, I love like the tangible nature of getting my hands dirty in clay and creating something at the end. It feels so, it like itches, it satisfies and itches a part of my brain that is so different from being a therapist and a psychologist and like being in academia. So I also took on an independent study over the summer, which has been really challenging because we have to get into the studio, and I've been traveling and working and running around with chai to the vet constantly. I was in therapy on Monday, and my therapist was like, so how many more weeks of summer do you have after you come back from your conference? Because like I said, I'm in Denver currently in a hotel room. I was like, 2 to 3 weeks. And then she was like, can you take a break in those 2 to 3 weeks? And I was like, it was so funny. I couldn't answer if I can or could, but I knew I needed to. I knew I wanted to. Something just always comes up because I'm in Denver for a conference that there needed to be preparations. I needed to put together posters. My mental space was like overtaken by this week because technically I'm going to 2 conferences. I'm going to one tomorrow, and then I'm going to another one afterwards. So the one tomorrow is the Asian American Psychological Association Convention, which I presented a roundtable at last October, which was a lot of fun. This year I wanted to present something, but some things happened with the timeline of submissions and I didn't get to submit anything. However, I still want to attend because in the grand scheme of things, I actually value the AAPA, so the Asian one tomorrow, more than the other conference I'm going to after, which is the annual American Psychological Association conference. That one's like a huge conference. There's so many people coming, and I've been going every year, but it's mostly because my advisor submits like work from our lab. So we have to put in work for these posters and present and represent our lab and represent our school and all that good stuff. But honestly speaking, I prefer the smaller conferences. I think I've been to 2 in person, 1 virtually, of like a smaller like social justice or like special topics or themes or populations type of conferences, and I feel like those just mean more to me. The huge like national one just is kind of overwhelming, honestly. So I'm really glad that my closest colleagues that I present and work with are also my friends. So we've sort of made it a thing where we try to explore the cities that we're in. Like last summer, we were in Seattle. So that was so fun. Like we did all the work we needed to do. We did all the presenting. And also I got to show my friends around Seattle. In case y'all didn't know and you're new, I used to live in Seattle. I was locked down in that city during the pandemic, working as a research coordinator. I was collecting like urine samples, running urine tests, and it was a very important job as like a stepping stone to get into the PhD program. And also, I just remember lockdown. I was sitting alone in a lab in a basement, like running urine tests and like crying. It was a really tough job, and like life was tough as it tends to be. Anyway, man, see, this is why I really should script videos, because I can go on so many million tangents. Anyway, so just so that we stay on task, PhD life. Classes are done, was what I was saying, right? Classes are done. And now I'm pretty much, as I enter my 4th year of the PhD program, I pretty much only have 2 things to have to focus on, and then I'm graduating essentially. Not next year, but 2027 is the year that I graduate. Spring 2027. But in order, so much of this coming year is in preparation for that last year leading to graduation. So number one thing I have to focus on is my dissertation proposal. So in order to apply for internships, which the 5th year of my PhD program, I go on a full-time clinical rotation internship, and that's like a 9 to 5 salaried, paid, not paid fully as a psychologist gets paid, very minimal payment, but paid job essentially. And in order to apply for that, in order to apply for internships, which I need to apply this fall, deadlines are November 1st, I need to propose my dissertation first. So I am kind of thankful to my anxious brain where I have been sort of on top of my dissertation drafts, and I am in a good place where in September, my advisor and I are in agreement that I'm ready to propose my dissertation topic, which I'm really excited about. It's like a type of research that I feel like it's like a beginning steps of like the type of work that I want to do in research moving forward. So those two things are what I'm focusing on this coming year. So no classes really. So my week will pretty much look like a ceramics class because I get to take another advanced class. I love this. I'm so excited. An entire year of my hands in clay is exactly what I wanted and needed. So I'm really excited about that. That's like the only class that I'm taking. And then I do externship, which is like another clinical rotation. This past year, I was at like an off-site outpatient site running group therapy, seeing individual patients. Now this coming year, starting in September, I'll be working inside a hospital, which I'm really excited about. I'll be doing mostly individual therapy, but I think that'll be a good switch and change in pace. And I remember reading that there's opportunities to create groups at this site, and I so want to because I really, really love group therapy. It's challenging because you never know. You can plan, but you never know what your group members are going to say in a group therapy session. So there's a lot of like thinking on your feet, which is exciting to me. So yes, I'll be doing externship 2 times a week. So two or three, it's 16 to 20 hours, and I can figure out how many hours I want to do with the director of my program as well as the clinical director at my site. And then I'll be doing like a group supervision with my colleagues, with a professor at school, and then lab. That's pretty much how my weeks will look. And then proposing my dissertation in September, so check on that. And once that is done, I can apply for internships that are due November 1st. So this summer has also been like, asking previous supervisors and my advisor for letters of recommendation. It's been thinking a lot about like what kind of sites do I want to go to for my clinical internship. Also financially, how can I afford, let's say I get to make like an X amount of money through this internship. In New York City, like 33% of that is taxed through city, state, and federal income tax. So you're essentially left with nothing. And I need to pay the bills. So I need to also financially figure out, do I need to apply for another year of FAFSA and get more loans? I didn't mean to talk so much about money in this update, but as you can see, that's really what's mostly occupying my mind as a PhD student in a counseling psychology program in New York City who is in like the later stages of the program. I need to get out without too much debt. And I am feeling a lot of gratitude for having come this far. I can't believe I'm a 4th year. I feel like being a first year feels like it was just yesterday, but also like 10 years ago. And also, I think I'm really ready to graduate. The fact that it's like August 2025, and then next year is 2026, and then the year after that, I'm graduating. I get to be Dr. hi.yeonni and become the psychologist that I've worked so hard to be, and this like terminal degree, which is wild. I know that this degree will bring a lot of different options for me on like how I can structure my week, how I want my work to look like, who I want to work with. So I'm trying to remind myself of like my why and the greater purpose of what is all of this for. Now that I'm like looking out the window, speaking of finances, did you know that like depending on your program and lab that you're in, like coming to like conventions, conferences in all these different cities, I just flew here from New York, right, to Denver. They're not covered financially. Like, yes, we have grants, but we have to apply for said grants for reimbursement. So there's so much like out of pocket costs as a graduate student that I didn't think about, and I feel like no one really considers until you're in it. I'm like, damn, I spent so much money on conferences and it's good for me. I know it's all for the experience, and it's better that I put some more money on my credit card right now so I can have the full experience of being a PhD student, going to conferences like this. I get to, if not, when would I ever come to Denver, right? Or I went to Vancouver in May, or I went to, where was the AAPA one? Oh, that was in Atlanta. I went to Atlanta last October, and then I was in Seattle the year before, and then I went to DC the year before. It's all important. So I'm definitely on the path of I don't want money to get in the way of me being able to fully experience being a PhD student, but also I'm trying to do that responsibly because I don't want to get out of this program just drowning in debt, because that's not how it's supposed to be, right? It's fully funded. But as hopefully as you can hear from me just being really candid with you guys, there's all of these like unspoken costs that comes with being a PhD student. So, and with being a PhD student in my program. I remember talking to some PhD students in like other programs, like in STEM programs or like medical school or like engineering schools. It's all so different. I think those students who were in those engineering programs, from what I heard in Columbia, they had really, really great financial packages where they were like, oh, why are you struggling so much with money? And I was like, what? And then the medical students, don't even talk about it. Like their debt, it's a lot of debt. So yeah, it is so varied and different. But that's how my journey has been so far. That's where I am right now. I'm really focusing on my big steps on graduating, on big steps that contribute to graduating. And I plan on graduating in 5 years, which is fast for some counseling psychology PhD programs. It's long, like for others. My best friend who is on internship this year, they're graduating in 2026. So they're doing a 4-year track, which is even faster. And then I have another close friend who decided to take on an extra year. So she's going to be here for 6, maybe 7 years. So it's such a personal decision and journey. And for me, I think financially, I just don't have anyone or anything to rely on. So when it comes to like how long can I stay in school for, I've just been doing everything I can to make the best of it while also planning on getting out of here and making a decent psychologist salary, the one that I've worked so hard for, so I can pay back my loans, so I can save again, I can have a Roth IRA again and be a financially responsible adult, which I miss. That was me when I was a social worker. With like the little salary I had, I was pretty proud of, like, I had no credit card debt. I had like a decent like cushion of savings for emergencies. I was paying into my Roth. So I have to remind myself that this is temporary. But yeah, that has been what's on my mind so far as a PhD student in this journey so far. This week I will be presenting 3 posters on multiple topics. One, I submitted myself as a first author, which I'm really excited about. 2, I was added as part of my lab posters, which I'm also excited about to contribute to our lab. Tonight, actually, I'm going to a mentor-mentee event. I volunteered to mentor, and like that word makes me kind of like, ooh, like who am I to mentor people? But there's a panel called like social justice and advocacy in academia, and I also volunteered for that role last October at the same convention, and I think I was able to bring a unique perspective of how to still be like a social justice advocate as a student, because in academia there's so many different power levels and you have to be really smart with it. And I think I've tried many different ways, whether it's actively protesting or like, joining student council and using the school's systems to promote social justice and advocacy, and like say the things that are being unsaid in these rooms. So I'm hoping that I can bring a lot of this to the attendees tonight and support them through my experiences. I also really like the mentor mentee is the Asian American convention one, and I also really like that convention because I also really like this mentor mentee sort of program that they have, because you get to talk to people in more like intimate circles. Yeah, so I think that is the update from me. How long has it been? It says it's been like 21 minutes. I think that is good enough. That's how my PhD journey has been so far. Lots of gratitude, lots of stress, lots of burnout, lots of financial burden, but also like lots of getting closer to the why and what is this all for, and trying to keep myself focused on that. How long have I been staring at myself? Like, am I the only one who does this during Zoom meetings? Please let me know in the comments. It can't be just me where I'm just like staring blankly at myself and not even realizing. I feel so vain. Anyway, that's it for my update. Thank you so much for logging in and checking in with me. Please let me know what you think about this format of just me hopping onto Zoom, us hopping onto Zoom to check in. I hope you take care of yourselves emotionally, physically, mentally, in all of those very, very important ways. And oh yeah, thank you for all of your kindness in the last video. It just warmed my heart to read your messages. So thank you. And yeah, I will see you in the very next video. Bye. Psych, I gotta stop recording because we're on Zoom. Bye.
Recording stopped.